I'm Sarah Marintz. You're about to learn some confidential information that very few people know, especially Clear Channel competitors. Over the next few minutes, you'll learn some PPM concepts not readily understood by the competition. I've been around radio all my life. My dad, the camera-shy Gary Marintz, is a longtime friend to programmers. He's actually one of the PD Advantage architects. My dad worked for Arbitron and helped usher in PPM. He's also one of the patent applicants on the Media Monitor's audience reaction tool. It's widely believed that PPM has helped everyone become a better broadcaster. So, whether you're currently in a PPM market or aspire to be, you're likely to find this very helpful. It's possible by making a few almost subconscious changes to the way you do your show or even format your station, you could increase your ratings. Have I piqued your interest? Well then let's get started with the basics, the fundamentals of radio, position and execution.
Every radio station's success is tied to two very basic building blocks, the fundamentals, position and execution. When we talk about position, we're answering the question, what is the station known for? And we're answering the question, what expectations do listeners have for the station? When we talk about execution, that's talent, and that refers to the personalities, the contest, and the marketing. Two stations can start out with the exact same position, but it's the execution that will eventually set them apart. And for the most part, this is where talent helps differentiate between the two radio stations. Winning stations start with a solid, clearly defined and desirable position, and they build in win with execution.
Do you know when you're most vulnerable to losing an audience? It's transitions, moving from one thing to another, from one song to another, from song to a commercial, and so on.
Consultant Warren Kurtzman coined the phrase, radio stations are most vulnerable when they're in transition. And the transition can be from and to anything. But statistically speaking, the minute our song starts to wind down, we enter a period where there can be, and is likely to be, heightened listener switching. Now the good news is that most of the switching occurs among fringe listeners. Our core usually hangs with us because of our position. They know what to expect and where to get that. And they know they'll be hearing their favorite song or personality shortly. But if and as anyone leaves our station, we feel it. And we are most vulnerable to switching when we're moving from one element to the next, regardless what the next element is. Transitions are like resets to listeners. It's when they explore and answer, what else is on now? What might I be missing?
Every second counts. Talent could be 1 second away from getting the minute level credit, which could lead to the 5-minute credit, which could lead to the quarter-hour credit. It's a big deal.
Yes, every second of every minute counts, and that's for every listener. So what do we do to minimize the impact of switching? Now this next part is a little technical, but it's helpful to understand, so keep this in mind. Inside 1 minute, we have 12 individual opportunities to get credit from Arbitron. We just need listening inside one of those 12 chances to get credit. While it sounds easy in theory, it's really not that simple in practice because we're dealing with the laws of physics and content density and all that mumbo jumbo. Anyhow, the panelist meter remembers what it hears inside the minute. And it will actually try to build credit for the radio station for up to a minute before it resets and starts looking at the next minute. If we get a valid detection inside one of those 5-second opportunities, we're likely to qualify for credit for the minute. And if we hold on to that listener for the duration of the minute, that's likely to translate to a minute's worth of listening credit for us. But Arbitron has an edit rule called last best 30. And that means we may get credit early on in a minute, but if inside that same minute the last 30 seconds go to a different radio station, they're likely to get credit and we will lose. That's why it's critical, actually essential, we watch how we move from element to element, the transitions. We don't want to cue listeners it's okay to leave. Lousy transitions translate to missed minutes, and missed minutes translate to missed quarter hours. On average, effective transitions boost a quarter hour share by 12%. So this kind of means you can use your existing audience and grow your share about 12% by simply improving your transitions. Here are some examples.
Mix 1041, Boston's best variety. That is fun and some nights. And they are having lots of fun right now. They are on the road, not just in the U.S., but starting next month, they are going overseas. They're playing Scotland, UK, then they're going to Australia. I mean, all over. And lots of them have already sold out. So big congrats to Fun. Have you bought tickets to a show recently? You think they're going to be like maybe $75 a piece. Then there's all these service charges. Before you know it, you're like, wait, how did I just spend $200 and some dollars at what? $500 would definitely help out in a night out for you. Your next chance to win it, we call it the summer bonus cash, comes up at 105, but you can't win if you haven't signed up. So do that at mix1041.com. That's coming up at 105. Train is also on the way, so is Coldplay. And someone who is in quite a little battle with Madonna. Somebody I'd never want to fight with. Next on Mix.
I'm JJ Green. You can find out how much your neighbor makes if they work for the federal government.
America's best high school, some locals make the grade.
You could win Kane's Honda Civic from Tampa Honda Land.
Here we go. You grab your phone and you text the word TIRE right now, TIRE, T-I-R-E, text TIRE to 97720. And you could be driving around my brand new Honda Civic, which still smells like new car despite Melanie driving it around.
It still smells good. It still smells good.
TIRE right now to 97720. You have 10 minutes to text in what word?
TIRE!
Now for our final concept of the session, creating a base station. Programmers are now looking at duplication patterns, how listeners use the base station. Check this out.
For the longest time, we looked at the stations with whom we shared, and we kind of acknowledged and accepted that without much additional thought. This made perfect sense. What we're learning now, however, is that among the stations who share listeners with each other, one of the stations is the base station. And by a pretty good percentage, we've learned that yes, listeners will bounce around among their favorite couple or handful of stations, but there is usually one station which stands out as the base station. This means that as listeners explore, they will tune back to their primary station, the base station, as they sample their second and third choices. Translated, the base station on average will have higher daily occasions and increased TSL. The importance of being a person's base station is being acknowledged as even more critical than what we understood before.
And that's a wrap for these programming tips. I hope you found this valuable, and I encourage you to email any questions or comments you have to GaryMarintz@clearchannel.com. Thanks for watching.